Welcome back to Behind the Bell. My guest today is Robyn Smith, who's principal trombonist with the Chicago Sinfonietta, and this conversation is a fascinating one. We talk about what it means to be seen and heard in classical music and the importance of representation on and off the stage. Robyn shares how winning an ITA competition helped shape the course of her career, and we also explore something she speaks about beautifully, the different levels of listening. It's thoughtful, inspiring, and full of insight. You're going to like this one. Let's get into it. Just a quick one before this episode starts. If we could ask a favour from you, please could you just go and hit the follow button on your app? It really helps this show to grow, and in return, we'll keep bringing you amazing guests. Thank you and enjoy this episode. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I was given a lift from Toronto Airport, brought me here, ready for this festival, and someone in the car said, I am so excited to meet Robyn Smith. I just can't wait for her recital. So there you go.
That's
Your
really exciting.
reputation precedes you, which is amazing.
Wow, that's nice.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know what your route was into music and why the trombone.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Atlanta, and I have two older brothers, and one is a trumpet player and one was a percussionist. And I grew up riding to drum lessons with my dad taking my brother. And so I think that was like my introduction to sort of the craft in that sense. And I also grew up in the church, so I was in youth choir and things like that. So music was always a part of, my culture and family and, day to day. And I was lucky to have brothers who also pursued it. And then it was very easy for me to pick up an instrument when the time came. It was around fourth grade.
Yeah.
The trombone, actually, it's a funny story because I started off playing trumpet. And my dad, he's the best. He's like super passionate, like the soccer mom of the dads. And he actually bought me a pocket trumpet. Have you seen, what a
tiny thing.
Yeah. He bought me a pocket trumpet. And so I was playing on that in fourth grade. And then I got to middle school and I had a band director. His name was Robert Jeffrey. And he's like, hey, it'd be really nice to have an all-female trombone section. I think you should play trombone, right?
And what age were you in?
I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I asked, I still got this pocket trumpet though. He's like, I think you should play trombone. And he's like, if I get an all-female trombone section, I'll get Beyonce to come. It actually happened, but Beyonce didn't come. But it was really exciting because that was actually my start to playing trombone. He's like, I believe this is the best fit for you. And it was back in when was that? Maybe 2008 or 9, when trombone wasn't super popular in like state bands and things like that in Atlanta in any way. So it seemed like a good fit.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to the fact that you said you got older brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I've got an older brother and he's musical as well. So,
yeah.
And it's really easy to follow that path.
Yeah.
Because you just think that's the normal thing to do. Mm-hmm. So he plays a cello, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It was just, you just kind of follow their footsteps.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fast forwarding a little bit, you went to study with Toby Oft.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that kind of influence? I mean, he's a big name in the trombone world. How did that sort of influence your...
It's awesome. He's awesome. I first met him in high school, and I went to the Boston University's Tanglewood Institute. And so there I got a chance to have lessons with Toby and other, Boston University like Don Lucas and Ron Barron, who I just saw at lunch.
I know.
Yeah. So that was like my first introduction to Boston, the scene, going to the Boston Symphony concerts. And then I think I was hooked because when I auditioned for New England Conservatory, it just kind of felt like home. And I'm working with Toby. It's a great match. He's like this animated, really like peculiar guy. I don't know, but I loved the way he taught. I loved his curiosity, inspiration, and his sound. So I felt like this is the place I need to be.
That's amazing. Yeah. So when was there a moment in maybe those studies, those years, where you thought, right, trombone, this is going to be my career?
It actually happened before then. So yeah, I joined a program. So like I said, I grew up in Atlanta, and I joined the talent development program. It's a program that's dedicated to changing the face of American orchestras. And so they pretty much pour into Black and brown young musicians, and they pair us with musicians of the Atlanta Symphony. We get free lessons, and they help us go to summer camps, and they expose us to so much, right? And so I joined that program in ninth grade. I auditioned the summer of my eighth grade, and I studied with Colin Williams. He's in New Yorkville. This is when he was in Atlanta Symphony. And so I was 14 studying with the principal trombonist of Atlanta Symphony. And from there was the commitment that I had to, sort of commit to. So that was the start of, I think I'm going to do this forever.
Amazing.
And as a career. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's just in your blood then.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I remember as an undergraduate, my teacher must have seen something in me and gave me my first sort of few little bits of professional work and sat beside him and was like, it's the sound. It's like,
exactly. Yeah.
And was that it with Colin?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, in high school, and especially like when you're 9th, 10th grade, freshman, sophomore year, you're in band and everyone's playing, but they're not, everyone's really serious about it. Just like, oh yeah, this band's marching band, we're just, here. And then you get into a lesson with someone like Colin Williams, who's had this like amazing sound and like, career and things like that. And you're like, well, I didn't know. It's like you're opened up to like a new, dimension or something. You didn't know this existed, right? So that was a huge thing for me. It's like, how do I sound like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the sound, isn't it? The sound from like when you're learning to then professional, like, wow, that is so different.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you kind of get hooked and you're like, oh, other people sound like this. And you go on this, I don't know, I guess an upward spiral. I was going to say down, but it's an upward spiral of great trombone playing and sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then after your studies with Toby, where did your career sort of go after that?
Yeah, so I studied with Toby for undergraduate, but also ended up staying in Boston for my grad school studies. And like halfway through grad school, I think it was around 2019, I actually won my first position with the Detroit Opera. It was back then, it was Michigan Opera Theater. And so it's a funny thing because in grad school, shortly after I won that position, then COVID hit.
Oh,
yeah.
Timing.
Yeah, it's terrible timing. And I feel like it was the time I was just getting into things, had my first like big pit gig. I played in the American Repertoire Theater with this show called Black Clown, and I was like getting my first, checks, big checks, and like I was in the union. So you know how that goes. And I was on a roll and I got my first job and then COVID hit. And so, unfortunately, it slowed things down a little bit. And I did finish my master's. However, I didn't start the job until like late, probably 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic, I find there's been lots of positives that have come of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Also, there are some things like the timing of things like that.
Yeah.
Did you find any positives through the pandemic time as well?
Yeah, well, so instead of staying in Boston and paying all this expensive rent, I moved home to Atlanta and I finished my studies virtually.
Okay.
And I think that there are some obvious negatives and positives of studying. I was in my parents' basement. And it's interesting because you really get to dive into like the things that you do without your horn. You get to dive into those things more. So I studied a lot more scores. I remember I had this dictating a lot of solos. And I was just introduced to a lot more. I think I listened more. I'll say that. I listened more during COVID, and I think it really started to cultivate my sound and just sort of what I wanted for myself, my solo playing, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, it's almost taking a bit of personal time, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, I found just staying at home was just a revelation.
Yeah.
And not just travelling constantly. So actually just having that time to breathe and, like you say, just creating your own sound in your head.
Yeah. It's the first time I realized that the sound in my head is the sound that I can actually, you hear that a lot, and then you practice it. You're like, okay, let me sing in my head, or let me sing in my practice. But then to actually like see it in tangible in front of you was that for me. So it's nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's definitely a positive.
Yeah.
And now as principal trombonist of the Chicago Sinfonietta, and you'd play with Boston Pops and St. Louis Symphony, blah, 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 blah. What are the joys and also challenges that comes with now being in the Chicago Sinfonietta?
The challenges, I think, Sinfonietta, we have about six or seven concerts a season. And really great programs. I'm introduced to so many different composers, people that need the stage, and need to be highlighted. And then we'll have standard rep as well. I think that when you're in an orchestra that doesn't play every single week, there's this continuous access that you have to orchestral playing and to your own sound concept that can be quite difficult. If you're playing every week, it's kind of comes naturally, but you get a group together maybe once a month and it's different. Your ears have to be different, your adaptability, and then someone like me who subs in different orchestras like the St. Louis Symphony, and I recently played in San Francisco Symphony, and then Boston Pops Symphony playing next to my teacher. It's like, okay, I need to lock in. You say, like, all the Gen Zers say lock in. So you have to lock in a different way. And so I think that's the biggest challenge is having to shift. The positives, like I said, we get to have access to so many new and amazing, talented composers and artists. We recently did a concert with Flutonics, amazing group of Black women flutists. And that concert, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be on an orchestral stage and be a part of putting people forward and giving them a platform and stage. So.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not playing every week, does that mean you've got time for your own projects in between all of that as well?
Yeah. I have like 11 jobs.
That's a luxury.
It's
that's the dream.
It is. I have a small solo career. I've played with different orchestras, and like I get to be invited to do be an artist at Leisure Georgia State and things like that. And then I have a pretty good teaching career in Chicago, where I teach at the University of Illinois Chicago. I have a small studio there, and I teach with the System Arvenio program. And so it's like, it's a dream to be able to work with smaller kids, college students, high school students, and then go on stage and perform and say, hey, everybody come to the concert. So I have like little kids, Miss Robyn, and then I have like college students like, yeah, that was really nice. And you know what I mean? So it's cool. It's cool.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
What a lovely balance.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always said that, I don't know, as a musician these days, you either get a full-time job in an orchestra that is literally all you do, and that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've got lots of different income streams, and I've always said to students, you might be practicing to try and get a job in an orchestra, but the chances of you being that one person that gets the job, I don't know.
Yeah.
It can be quite a slim chance. So you've got to think outside the box and have lots of things going on, and like you have.
Yeah, it's like, it's a little sweet spot where like I get to do what I love, and really, like, I studied primarily orchestral playing in college, so that's what I'm really good at, and I'm happy to be able to do that. And then on top of that, I get to have access to so many different types of people and students, and yeah, it's nice. And it's a beautiful city like Chicago. Chicago's amazing. I'm always talking about it.
I've never really spent much time in Chicago, so I'll let you know when I'm there.
Yeah.
Have you got any sort of standout moments so far, like with the Chicago Sinfonietta? I mean, you mentioned the flute.
Yeah, that's one. And then I will say my first season with the orchestra, we did a huge Martin Luther King Jr. concert. And that was, not every year we get to do it in this way, but this year we had, I can't remember the name of the choir, but it's attached to this church. And they performed with us as a gospel choir. They performed with us, and it was just, like I said, to grow up in the church and then also be in an orchestra and be able to put those two worlds together. So I'm like trying to play, but I'm also singing along to songs. And then obviously the moment of MLK and the history and things like that, that was like, I was like, this is where everything meets and it's beautiful. So that for me is a highlight. I also had a really amazing time with the conductor, Carlos Miguel Prieto. He came in and during like the De los Muertos concert, it was a concert full of Mexican music, and it was just fun. To be honest, it was just fun, and so yeah, those are some highlights.
I mean, it's amazing to say we do this kind of thing for a living.
Yeah,
and that sounds almost like a full circle moment, like learning the choirs and
exactly. It's wild.
it's humbling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by S.E. Shires. S.E. Shires has been setting the standard in brass instrument craftsmanship and innovation since 1995. Headquartered in Holliston, Massachusetts, the instruments built in our workshop have helped shape the sound of brass music for decades. Known for their rich tone, effortless response, and incredible clarity, S.E. Shires trombones deliver the flexibility and power serious musicians demand. Each instrument is meticulously crafted to inspire excellence because that's what today's trombonists deserve. Explore the Custom Series, the ultimate option for brass players who demand the very best from their equipment. These instruments are the pinnacle of craftsmanship, quality, and performance. Discover the Q Series, offering Shires performance and power at an approachable price. And new this year, the A Series, bringing the Shires sound to students and educators like never before. S.E. Shires trombones are masterfully built and uniquely yours. Visit seshires.com or stop by our booth at an ITF to find the horn that's built for you. This podcast is brought to you by Greg Black Mouthpieces. Greg Black Mouthpieces is proud to support the 2025 International Trombone Festival as a gold sponsor. It's always a special time attending ITF and seeing our friends gather from around the world. And we're delighted to announce a wonderful new partnership with our newest retailer in Canada, Long & McQuaid. We're excited to grow our relationship with Canada's largest music store, who shares in our longtime passion of helping musicians find the best equipment to express their art form. To find out more about Long & McQuaid or any of our other retailers, please visit gregblackmouthpieces.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for all the latest news and updates. Behind the Bell is sponsored by C Sharp Editions. Whether you're looking for a piece to add to your next solo recital, trombone quartet concert, or trombone choir program, C Sharp Editions has you covered. Recent additions to the catalog include Chris Sharp's Denton Sonata for tenor trombone and piano, Brandon Merville's Chrome Heart for bass trombone and piano, and John Fannon's Legacy Fanfare for 6 trombones. You can also find old favorites like Apogee Fanfare, In Their Gentle Presence, and The Secret City, available exclusively on the C Sharp Editions website. C Sharp Editions is currently offering listeners of Behind the Bell an exclusive discount. Head to csharpeditions.com, CSHARPE editions.com, and enter code ITF15 at checkout to receive 15% off your next order. That's ITF15 at csharpeditions.com. Today's episode is sponsored by Hickey's Music. At Hickey's Music, we've been servicing the needs of musicians since 1892. We've become known for our vast library, serving as a go-to resource for music directors and soloists the world over. And in the last 35 years or so, Hickey's has become known as the go-to resource for all things trombone and brass. We carry all the literature, we routinely keep in stock all the accessories and replacement parts for your instrument, and we have a selection of horns available for audition and purchase. Mostly, however, we have something that is becoming even more rare: personal service. We do not employ AI, we only use HI, human intelligence. When you contact Hickey's, you get real people. We strive to handle your requests and help you succeed as a player, a teacher, and a musician. Visit hickeys.com. We'd love to make you our next fan of Hickeys.
So, I mean, you're mentioning loads of different styles of music and genres, and you've performed in every genre going.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favourite? Is there a favourite?
I don't know that there's a favorite. I think, there's where I feel the most comfortable is, my orchestral classical playing. But then there are genres where I feel at home, like when I get a chance to play in big bands sometimes in Chicago, and I just like, I bring my big toe to the pool and I tap it in just a little bit. And that's how I feel about jazz. But I grew up studying jazz, so in the beginning, and so it's like each genre kind of brings out little parts of myself that I love, and then with orchestral playing kind of being the long time study. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And also, you won the 2018 ITA Marstella competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you won that trombone.
Yeah.
And you're still playing it today.
Yeah, it's crazy. At 2018, let's see, I think that was in Iowa. We were in Iowa back then, and let's see, what was the piece? It was Martin. And it's interesting because when you do these solo competitions, I didn't really focus on like, oh, you get to win a nice trombone. I was just doing it. I was in college, and it's like, yeah, this is what you do. You do competitions. And then I won, and then I got this trombone, and I was playing another instrument at the time. But then I started to fool around with this, and it was, I think, at the beginning of the detachable bells. Right, so my case is like super tiny, and so I would carry it around. People were like, oh, that's cool. So then I was like, is it really? And then I started playing it, and people were like, I like that horn. And so I've been with it ever since, and it's worked out. I think it's super versatile.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And winning that competition, I mean, that's a big milestone. How old were you then?
2018, I was just turning 21. I think that was the summer of my 21st birthday.
Yes, yeah. That's a big milestone for a young trombonist.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that moment has kind of influenced your career a bit?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. In 2017, actually, my quartet, it was with Brittany Lash, Chris Bassett, and Victoria Garcia. That's her name back then. And we came in 2017 when it was in Redlands, and we actually won the competition. It was called Boston Based, right?
I mean, it's not a bad quartet.
Yeah. So that was my first like, this is kind of cool. And then so I came back 2018, and I'm by myself, and so it feels differently to be in that room. And honestly, I didn't realize that it was an open thing. All the competitions everybody can go to, and so when I walked in, I was like.
There's an audience.
Yeah, but then there was like this moment where you're just like either do or die, so it's like I'm gonna do it, and I played, and I actually had fun because I felt like I wanted to share my music with the people watching, and that sort of I guess mindset change is what began the I think my connection to solo playing that I really, really loved. So, absolutely.
That's amazing. I mean, it's good to know that the ITA competitions are not just a springboard for people, but also just an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And looking back at like your sort of studies and like Toby and all your previous teachers, what's been the sort of the best mentorship advice you've been given? And do you pass that on as well to students?
I've gotten so much amazing advice. I think all my teachers have brought out different parts of me, which I love. Like I studied with Nate Zagans also, and if you know him, he's like this like go-getter guy. And so that aspect like really helped me in high school. It's what I needed. And Colin, he's like super dialed in. Toby's like this eccentric, just amazing spirit, And then my good mentor of mine is actually Weston Sprott. It's funny because I'm actually playing his horn. That's his horn. And he's always been like such a good person to lean on, especially, you know, being a Black trombone player in this field. He's a call away, and he's been so pivotal in a lot of different parts of my career. But to get to your question, the best advice, honestly, I'm going to say the best advice actually came from Tom Roths, principal trumpet at Boston Symphony. And I had a lesson with him when I was a fellow at Tanglewood. And he sat down, he's a very like matter-of-fact guy. He's just like, yeah, you know, and I love that about him because it makes him approachable. And so he's like, Robyn, you know, you're really nice and you're sweet and you're kind of easygoing. I'm like, yeah. He's like, sometimes you play like that. And I'm like, huh. He's like, sometimes you need to access another personality when you play. And I'm like, that's interesting. Let me try it. And so I think, you know, separating sort of not, you know, you always bring yourself to your playing, but being able to access, it's like, you know, you're an actress in a way. Yeah. Being able to access other parts of maybe parts of my personality that I didn't think that I could tap into. And that to me was like life-changing, because then I go in performances that I really am like shaking in my boots, so nervous. But then I'm like, I'm the superwoman of trombone right now, and I can step into that, and then it's like, huh. And then after I'm done, I'm like, oh, now I can be this chill person that I normally am. You know what I mean?
I agree more with that. Well, I think when I'm talking to students, when they go out on stage, I say to them, it's an act. You can't walk like you normally walk down a corridor. Because people they'd be going, what?
Right.
Because I mean, you might scuff your feet, you might just be a bit slunched over.
Yeah.
But actually, going out on stage, you've got to be confident and look confident, shoulders back, and walk as though you've got meaning. Exactly. And that's not how you normally walk.
It's not. It's not even how you normally breathe.
Yeah, exactly. And I know I've got a one of my best friends. She's a singer and lead trumpet player, and she said whenever she plays lead trumpet, she pretends she's Bobby Shute.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, the power that comes out.
Yeah.
So that completely resonates with me. That's just brilliant. And I have to say that you're talking about sort of role models with Weston Sprott. One question I was thinking of was what do you hope changes in the music world so that it improves access and representation? And how do you think listeners can actually support with that cause?
Yeah. You know, I think it starts, I always think back to, you know, think about access and sort of changing, you know, the industry and things like that. And like, it starts with the younger kids, like the first time you step into a band room and the first time you listen to classical music or any sort of music is the moment things can change. And I don't know what it is. I think it's Malcolm Gladwell that says like opportunity meets hard work meets, you know, that was me, right? And so being able to see younger kids that have the hard work but don't have the access and don't have the opportunity is what's lost. So in order to create more opportunities and more access, you kind of have to approach it from, you know, I think it's unfortunate that when we get to a certain level in our careers, we no longer are talking to younger kids. You know, you may be in an orchestra and you go into the schools like, oh yeah, we're doing this outreach thing for, you know, but why is that? You know, if I heard that sound that I heard at 14 and I heard it at 11, can you imagine what that would have done? You think about all the prodigies of like all the string players and pianists. It's like they were like 2 or 3 years old doing, you know, having lessons. And I think that can change if we approach it the same way for wind instruments and brass instruments.
And it's
So,
getting
yeah.
people, I guess, people that look like you as well, that makes you say, oh, maybe I can do that.
Exactly.
It's like the sound, the look. And
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And I didn't even have anyone that looked like me when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, there's nobody type in videos, YouTube was sit at the desktop and surf the web. But there was no one that looked like me. But I was focused on the sounds that I was hearing. I was just like, I want to sound like that.
Yeah.
That's it, And then to finally meet someone like Weston,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, wow. I remember the first time I saw Weston, he's like this. It's like very captivating guy.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw him for the first time auditioning for undergrad when I was 18. And I remember I was like, what? Like, I was amazed.
Amazing.
So,
I mean, he's got amazing stage presence.
Yeah,
Hasn't he? It's like
yeah.
Just this figure of like just confidence on stage.
But like there's Weston and there are other people I can talk to and things like that. But if I had that earlier,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would be. And so not only me, but everyone else that comes after me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you are now one of the people that people are going to be looking up to.
Yeah.
And go, I look like her.
Yeah.
So there you go. You're now that person that people are looking at.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Rath Custom Trombones. Rath Custom Trombones are bespoke modular instruments handcrafted to the highest of standards in England and played all over the world. Each Rath Custom Trombone is constructed by hand at the Rath Workshop in the north of England. Michael Rath trombones are found in almost every conceivable musical situation, in symphony orchestras and opera houses, in film and television studios, in pop and commercial music groups, as well as brass bands, wind bands, big bands, jazz and funk groups, and so many more genres and ensembles. Widely acknowledged as being amongst the best instruments available, many of the world's leading performers choose to play a Michael Rath trombone. Artists such as Mark Nightingale, Aubrey Logan, Carol Jarvis, Dennis Rollins, Brett Baker, and the Black Dyke Band are among the performers all over the world for whom Rath is their instrument of choice. Michael Rath trombones have earned their reputation for excellence because of their concept of flexibility, unique design, and the quality of their construction. What are you waiting for? Join the Rath Pack today. Go to rathtrombones.com or email info@rathtrombones.com to find out more.
Hello, ITF listeners. I am Warren Coos, brass product specialist with Antoine Courtois and B&S Meistersinger trombones. We're so proud to have been longtime partners and exhibitors with the International Trombone Festival. Fun fact, Antoine Courtois is known as one of the oldest manufacturers making modern brass instruments today. We work with top artists around the world to provide a unique and elegant sound for players. From our Legend series and Meistersinger orchestral trombones to the Extreme Series jazz trombones, there is something for everyone. Be sure to check out our newest creation, Florida trombone, developed with Joel Vaiz of the Florida Orchestra. You can find our trombones available at any Antoine Courtois or B&S authorized dealer. To find a dealer near you or more information about these wonderful trombones, please visit our website.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Guard Bags. Guard Bags has 3 models of cut bell trombone bags on offer. Our 21C ESK model is designed to fit a cut bell tenor trombone. The 23C ESK bag fits a cut bell bass trombone. This year, we're introducing a new compact and slim bag for cut bell tenor trombone, the model 19C ESK. This bag has been designed in collaboration with Luke Malowitz, and of course all our bags are always on display at the ITF Exhibit Hall. Our trombone bags can be ordered through J. Landris Brass and Austin Custom Brass in the USA and Thomann in the EU. This podcast is brought to you by Woodwind Design. Woodwind Design's carbon stands for tenor bass and contrabass trombones built in the Netherlands are trusted by great musicians such as Ben Van Dyke, Brent Attema, Joe Alessi, and current ITF president Carol Jarvis. The stands are very compact and lightweight, fitting inside the bell of the instrument and adding virtually no weight at all to the case. But more important, the protection of your instrument is excellent. 7 nesting carbon tubes plus the patented leaning design make a balanced and suspended stand with a large footprint, 4 feet and a low center of gravity. Visit woodwinddesign.com for more information. While you're at it, also check out our tablet and music stands that are at last high enough, as well as our solution for every musician's pain in the rear, chairs that are way too low and leaning back, the Dutch butt lift. Butt lift, because that's what it does. Dutch, not Brazilian. Woodwinddesign.com.
If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to hit the follow button so you don't miss each episode when it gets released. And also, you can meet these legends and heroes and all the rising stars in the trombone world if you come to an international trombone festival. Just head to internationaltrombonefestival.com to find out more. And what does versatility, why does it matter in being a classical musician? Because we're looking at like all the different genres you've played in. Why would you say that versatility is important?
First of all, it's humbling. It's humbling to not get so, we get so hyper-focused on this one thing that we do really great. And then we do that thing really great, and you go into these spaces where all these other people are doing this one thing really great. And then as soon as you step into another room where they're doing something else really great, you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
like, what is happening?
yeah,
And you suddenly feel like less of a musician.
yeah,
You feel like all these things start rushing through.
yeah.
And it's like, I want myself to be as well-rounded as possible so that there isn't any room that makes me feel like I'm not a musician.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that to me is the most important thing, is like, I want to be a musician. And that's how I found my connection to music, was just through first like choir, and so that's me. And so to study classical music and orchestral playing and forget about all of that, it's just a disservice to my career,
Yeah.
to who I am.
Yeah, 100%. I've always said that, I get called to play sort of lead trombone in a symphony orchestra that don't play the sort of the like programs very frequently.
Yeah.
So bring a lead trumpet, a lead trombone.
Yeah.
And then you're meant to sort of get everyone, 90 people swinging.
Yeah.
How do I get the flautists and the violins to do it? But then I did a tour with Metropole Orchestra, and I was like, hang on a minute, this woodwind section and this string section have really got it.
Yeah.
And, but then, like you're saying, lots of people do one thing really great, but they can't put the hat on and do something else really great as well.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's the shift in our industry in classical music also, is because, when you go to concerts and you get a chance to hear these players play different things, then you have someone who may be from a different background that latches onto it. Music is all about familiarity and accessibility. So it's like, I go to my first, Atlanta Symphony concert, and the orchestra's playing a song or something I heard in church, or something that I grew up singing when I was in kindergarten, and then it's like, it doesn't have to be to that extent, but it's like, oh, then you're latched on. So I think, continue playing things that, Beethoven, all these things that we've heard so much, is like, well, we're only contributing to one audience, and no one else is going to be feeling like this is familiar, or it doesn't latch on to anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm intrigued, like, beyond performance, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind in terms of sort of mentoring and maybe representation as well? When you're so early in your career, talk about your legacy that you want to leave behind.
I have no idea, but okay, I would say, like, the things that are true to, I think about my mission for my career and who I am as a person, and I try to like align those things. And so I think I've always just wanted to be accessible, and I've never wanted to put myself on any pedestal for people to try to reach. It's like, only difference, a great thing Toby oft would say to me, he's like, the only thing, the difference between me and you is time. And I thought about it, like, oh,
Wow.
And so I want that for myself, and how many ever years trombone is in my life. And I think from there, then, so many opportunities for, it's like, oh yeah, like I met Robyn, and we talked a lot about whatever. And then they're like, yeah. And she's a great trombone player too. That's really awesome. but we were able to have a conversation. And so that's sort of something I'm more interested in is, being able to be accessible and contributing to the community in the way that I can.
Amazing. That's so lovely. Lovely, really lovely. And have you got any future projects coming up that you want to mention?
Future projects. Oh, is this my time? Let's see. At the moment, I'm in the very beginning stages of getting together like my first album, but nothing is in set in stone for me to say right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But I am looking forward to my first album. I could say that. Let's see. No, I'm on the train. I'm on the ride. That's what
that's an amazing project to be looking forward to.
Yeah.
Even if that's just the only project at the moment, then
I'm looking forward to in the coming years, just like more solo playing and doing that wherever is giving me the platform. So
amazing. Well, Robyn, it's been such a pleasure.
This is so nice. I'm a huge fan of you, and to be sitting next to you, it's like such an honor, and you're just great. You're such a nice spirit and person to talk to. So
well, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
All of that straight back at you as well. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much to Robyn for that. That was just an amazing conversation. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, please do go and hit that follow button and you won't miss the next episodes coming up. Thanks for listening and see you next time.
This podcast is brought to you by Butler Trombones. Butler Trombones is a Texas-based company known for designing and building trombones and trombone components using carbon fiber, a unique construction material in the world of brass instruments. Here's why Butler Trombones and their carbon fiber instruments stand out. They're ultra-lightweight. Carbon fiber construction significantly reduces the weight of the instrument compared to traditional brass, making them easier to hold and play for extended periods and potentially reducing fatigue and stress on the player's body. They're durable. Carbon fiber is a very strong and resilient material, offering enhanced durability compared to traditional brass instruments. The responsive and focused sound. Reviews consistently praise the instrument's responsiveness, clear articulation, and focused core sound. The variety of models and products. They offer a range of models catering to different needs and preferences, including small, medium, and large bore tenor trombones, like the C5, C6, C8, C9, and C10. They also offer their dual bore bass trombone C12, that is a game changer for the bass trombonist. Butler Trombones also offers customization options for all makes and models of trombone. Carbonize your horn with a new bell or slide to lighten the load. They also offer a wide range of products in their online store, including CF mutes, CF lead pipes, and maintenance products. Butler Trombones are handcrafted in Texas and are available at retailers and directly from their website. They are popular among professional musicians, educators, and those seeking to reduce physical strain while playing. You can find more information about Butler Trombones and their products at butlertrombones.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by Baltimore Brass. Baltimore Brass Company is the destination for all of your trombone needs. We deal in new and used instruments and accessories across all of the major manufacturers, and we have a great consignment program too. Not only that, we also have a repair shop on site with 3 brass techs. So, whether you're buying your dream horn, selling your used gear, or need a quick fix, visit us at Baltimore Brass Company. Our address is 99 Mellor Avenue, Catonsville, Maryland, or online at baltimorebrasscompany.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Band Geek. Hey trombone nerds, yes, you with the spit valve. Band Geek brand has your shirt game handled. From cheeky quotes to bold, brassy designs, we celebrate musical misfits, low brass legends, and slide rule breakers. Whether you're in the practice room or on stage, we've got the drip to match your lip. Find shirts, stickers, and more at etsy.com/shop/bandgeekbrand.